I wish that was on there.
All right.
Hi, it's Tech Thursday. I'm Cassie.
And I'm Nicole, and this is Gidget. Gidget's not feeling super well today, so she is hanging out with us at the office. So anyway, explaining the random dog. So what's Tech Thursday about?
So a couple weeks ago, we talked about the idea of when businesses should branch out versus
I guess, converge on an idea or something.
Like when it's good to like separate two things versus
having a big thing.
Having a big thing. So this is kind of sort of stemming off that idea. So you may have seen some social media sites kind of copying elements of another. So the best analogy I can think of this is anyone who's had a sibling playing in Super Troopers, they call it the repeater. But it's that, stop copying me. Like, I had a younger brother, and he used to do it to me, but I also used to do it to him. Like,
right.
Were you just getting that? And it's the most annoying. It was honestly the most annoying game ever. But yeah, it's that idea. So I saw this thing go by about, speaking of branching out, this is where I was going with this. Google Plus was the example of branching out photo streams versus just regular posts. So it turns out their photo stream, they're calling it collections, and someone made the observation that Google Plus's collections resemble Pinterest in a lot of ways. They're the Pinterest boards. So it's like, oh, that's an interesting idea. Because I've seen that in a couple other places, like so-and-so is trying to copy so-and-so. And like, is anything original anymore? Not to go, I just went like straight to existential.
Well, and the other thing too is like, part of the question is it copying or is it taking ideas and, you know what I mean? Like, is it?
Right. Because it's like,
it's a fine line, right?
You know what that reminds me of? The template thing.
Yeah.
Like you just
customize templates. Well, everything's, I guess, you could start off with a base, or you could, I guess, start off with not a base and have something that looks relatively similar at the end. But it's, it's interesting. But I think, too, I've actually seen, I get that social networks, like get the Pinterest thing, it's nice to like have a collection of sort of objects together. Have you ever seen a website that's designed like that? It's called like a widgetized homepage. So it's all widgets on the homepage. I know of like 2 websites. Yeah, like Fiore Olive Oil, their websites like that. I don't know what it's designed in. I think it's designed in Drupal. I'm not quite sure though, but it could be WordPress too. It's something content in it. I remember looking it up because I was like, oh, what's this designed in?
Drupal's logo an elephant? Because for some reason Drupal
it
makes me think of like something you would name an elephant.
Drupal.
I just picture Drupal the elephant.
Because it has droopy ear. No, it looks like an angry raindrop. It's like blue, and I don't know if it's angry raindrop. Drupal people don't get mad. I'm not entirely sure of your origin story. Hey, not on camera. It's for later. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure of Drupal's origin story, but yeah, it's more of like a blue thing. I'll show you the logo later. But yeah, there's some websites that actually have copied that look, and you get there, and I just like don't know what to do. Like I don't know. I'm like, oh, what hours do they open? Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to look at all these boxes and find the hours one. Like I get that it's artistic and interesting, but I'm like, oh man, it's not. I don't know, it's a fine line. But yeah, you can certainly, I've seen Pinteresty looking websites as that website has gotten more popular.
And you can't be like, Fiore copied Pinterest, those jerks. Like,
no.
Like, there's a line of like, okay, I guess.
Right, no, it's just this idea of like, and they even call it a widgetized homepage. And like, there's templates, like if you look up widgetized homepage, like basically if you like Pinterest, look up widgetized homepage templates. In WordPress or whatever, and you'll see a bunch of options that look similar and have varying degrees of customizability. How many columns of stuff do you have? How big are the things? Does it have captions underneath it? What color is it? Blah blah. But But yeah, and the other thing the copycat thing I saw this week, which was interesting, was I saw an email goodbye. So Twitter used to be that you can only direct message somebody that you were following and they were following you. So if Cassie and I follow each other, I can send Cassie a direct message, she can send me a direct message. But let's say that I followed Cassie and she didn't follow me, but she had direct messaging turned on, and now I can send her a message. That's like a relatively new Twitter thing. So you can allow yourself to get messages from people who you don't follow. So if a celebrity wanted to turn that on, they could get messages from their fans despite the fact they don't follow their fans. I'm curious how many celebrities actually do turn it on, unless they have, of course, a PR team behind them, but to manage the messaging. But yeah, so I think maybe Twitter saw this idea, I guess we're moving on, that people want to be able to send messages and they don't necessarily need to, they might need to message them before that follow relationship starts. So, which makes sense.
Facebook does, like, you can send anyone a message on Facebook.
Right, even if,
But it goes into that, like, weird folder that.
The other folder.
The other folder that no one ever really looks up.
Yeah, and that's, but it's interesting. So, okay, what can you do on a social network? And when you break it down, it's actually like pretty simple the things you can do on a social network. So you can share specific kinds of information. So it could be video, it could be photo, right?
Yeah, you can really only tool around with like how you share stuff. Like Snapchat, you share pictures, right? But the way you share it is just different than the way you share pictures on Facebook. Like,
it's true. And so one thing is social networks, what do you share? The second thing is who do you share it to? So different social networks allow for different levels of privacy. So it could be that in Snapchat, I can just send ridiculous inappropriate pictures. Or, if it's Google Plus and I want to share something, I can share it with my particular circle of people that would be most likely to care about it. So it's like, what do you share? Who do you share it to? And then it's like, how do you communicate with each other? So there's typically this low level thing, like a like or I don't know, I think they're all called likes or a heart or a something, which just means like, I appreciate this. And I approve, and somehow it gets added in the grand scheme of things to your online history. Like if I want to go back on Pinterest and look at everything I've ever liked, I can just click on the little heart and it pulls up everything I've ever liked. I think Facebook too, you could probably do that. It's probably just under some weird setting.
It's in your timeline.
Yeah. You can look at everything.
Like your activity log.
Right. So it's kind of like saying, I appreciate this, and maybe I want to go back to it later, but maybe I don't.
I found super helpful in college.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I mean, like it's a pretty low level thing. And then the other thing you can do, of course, is like comment on it, which is like you're interacting with the person who left a message. So you're replying them on Twitter, or you're leaving a comment under their photo on
It took me the longest time to figure out the ad thing.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that like on Instagram, because on Facebook you get a notification.
Yes.
Anytime. But on Instagram, if you posted the picture, you get the notification. But if you're just part of the commenting thread, you have to tag the person, otherwise they don't see it if you comment.
No, it's true. I know it took me a while, and that's why I tag you in a couple random things on Instagram, because I'm like, I want Cassie to see this.
Yeah.
But then I'm always like, should I tag Cassie in this? Because I think it's funny. Will she think it's funny? And then will it like be weird? So basically there's this level of
the only things that you tagged are just actually hilarious. The hustle one with the cat with the dudes on it.
Yeah, that was the most random. I really wish I could I
think I have it saved somewhere.
Nice.
You can't not save something like that.
No, I just saw it go by and I thought, wow,
on a t-shirt.
This is the most internet thing I've ever seen. But like when you think about it, you're like, okay, I either want to save something for my future reference. Like I want to go back and see that like I've liked this article or something, and maybe I want to read it again or whatever. I want to interact with somebody who said something in a public way, or I want to interact with someone about what they said in a private way. So then you've got all like private messaging. Instagram has private messages, right? I think it does.
It has direct message, so you can send a picture to someone directly.
Oh, and I guess you
Like
put a
put it
caption in
in
the
the
picture,
box.
and that's like your message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only seen that happen once. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't understand what's happening.
No, I wanted to get Derek a Christmas present, and I know that people on Instagram like probably had a better idea of what he liked than I did. So I actually followed one of his people, and I sent a direct message, and I was like, oh crap, I should take a picture of something. I just want to ask this guy, like, hey, should I buy this book or this book? Like, you would know what's a better sort of book, you know, for my husband, you know, in his line of work. So, I don't. So I was like, oh crap, what do I take a picture of? So then I think I took a picture of like the screen that I was buying the book. I think I was on Amazon or something. And I was trying to pick between the two books, so I like took the screenshot of the two. I was like, the fuck did I take a picture? I'm not gonna send a picture to this guy I don't know of like me being like, you know, hey, I want to give my husband a book for Christmas. And then he's like, is that some weird pickup line? I don't know. But so like that's one of the things that
don't understand your strategy.
Right? So that's the thing social networks do, and all these websites have done is either allowed us to do it better or become super specialized in one of them, or kind of grouped elements together of those things that made sense. Like think of any social network you know. All right, YouTube, great, we can upload videos, there can be comments. By the way, we appreciate the one comment we've gotten so far. If you are not a dirty bird and you're watching this video and want to leave us a comment, we appreciate it. Because that's the only comment we've gotten so far.
Something relevant.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's how people do it. Like you can't really direct, so the limits of the YouTube are you can't really direct message someone through YouTube, right? I can just leave a comment and we can
Hope they read it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why a lot of people on YouTube drive people to their website to like have the private conversation, because some things you just don't want to talk about publicly.
Have you seen it? I think I saw it on Instagram actually, but it's talking about like when you're on a Facebook thread and then suddenly someone from the thread like private message you, and it's like we're whispering now.
It's true, and some platforms just have their limits, and part of having the limits is it forces you to, for example, like YouTube comments, right? So how many times I'm sure would people have taken that offline if that was an option? But since commenting is only public view, right? Like we all see all the comments, and it makes for this like interesting public discussion. So like the limits of the platform sort of dictate or maybe create an interesting way for people to interact. Like if you don't have a way for people to private message, you know, then they're gonna find other ways to communicate. So
it will be. It's a very interesting social experiment.
Yeah.
There's this BuzzFeed list that's like the 15 best comments on Disney YouTube clips. So I need to find. I'll find it and put it in a blog post.
Wait, like what was one of them?
I can't remember. I honestly
it was just
can't
like what time to open or something. Was it like really lame stuff like Walmart?
No, it was just like hilarious like observations or like circling stuff. Like I have to find it. I just remember I was laughing so hard when I read it. That's why it's in my memory.
I do love it when people circle stuff or like really dig deep and like pause the movie and they like, or they find this like weird juxtaposition of like, and actually like, you know, what was it? There's some Disney, and it's like, oh, apparently all the adults can't, or like all the adults can't see Big Bird, but like, or something, or like Snuffleupagus. So there's a lot of stuff like these really, you know, deep observations of these things, and you're like, man, people are clever. I really like, God, I think it might be Reddit. Yeah, Reddit has all like the threads of things.
Yeah.
With the fun observations, and you're like, God, people are so smart. I appreciate that. This is probably as close as we can get to tapping into the collective intelligence, you know. Well, maybe we can get a little closer, but we're heading there. And it's pretty neat that like we can sort of all be watching this movie and all be like, oh, you know, and come up with some new observation that probably the person who made the movie didn't even think of. Let's face it.
Yeah. Well, then you get into the whole, oh my God, we're not shooting that. Going down that road. Okay. I'm just gonna cut myself off. I was about to launch into like critical theories.
Critical series. See, Cassie brings Tech Thursday to a more intellectual level than I would take it to.
You know, they gave you the O cup. Yes. Okay, that's Tech Thursday.
Yeah,
O cup needs to.
The O cup. I know, like Oprah, like Willette, like. I know, I think it was at Martin's. I think they only had like 2 or 3 initials, and one of them was O, and I was like, yeah. Boom. P.S. I just had this thought of like, oh, did I get it at Martin's? And I was about ready to turn this cup over and see if the Martin's little price sticker was still on it, but it's full of coffee, so that would be a good So yeah, so you know, so you can think about social networks copying each other. You can think of just being like, okay, well, like what features are people going to want? Do you think that there's some features that social networks should have that they don't have? I mean, oh, and I guess also, so one is you can sort of share content. You can sort of be friends with people in some way. You can like or sort of bookmark stuff. You can comment on stuff publicly. You can message privately. You can also block people. That's the other thing when you get to that level, which we haven't got to yet. You know, when you have the haters and you have to figure out how to deal with them. So like you can block them or you can restrict access to certain kinds of content to people. So part of that stuff is you can sort of you can do a little bit of control over who sees stuff. Like if you walk down the street, whatever, like wearing whatever, anyone who walks by is gonna see you, but online you can really curate who can see you. Of course there's things like screenshots and whatever, so but in general you can kind of control that environment, which is interesting. But I don't know, I'm trying to think of like stuff on social networks that like I wish they had. And I'm like hard pressed to think of something. I wish there was a way that you could, and I wish this in email that wasn't a paid feature, although I think Boomerang with Gmail is free. Wish you could like schedule a private message to be sent later. Sometimes I'm thinking of something and I'm like, okay, I'm like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm looking at this stupid thing on the internet. And I want to tag Cassie, but I don't want her to think that, like, first of all, I don't want to wake her up if, like, the phone buzzes next to her.
Yeah, that's on me. That's
right.
My personal opinion. Like, this wakes you up, that's your opinion. Sure.
Yeah, no,
That's your fault.
that is, that's my thing, too. That's why I don't sleep with the phone in the bedroom. It's like,
Right.
it's like the rule I have. My poor husband's like, he just wants to look at Instagram, and I'm like, just turn off the phone before you go to sleep. That's all I ask. Like, I just want to be away from that, like, cellular radiation crap for, 8 hours a day. And like and also like the buzzing of, like I just don't sleep well. I like dark, I like quiet. But anyway, but I wish there was a way so that it's like 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, oh crap, like I want to send this to Cassie. I don't necessarily know if I want her to know that I was up, I mean not in Cassie's case, but like, if it's a client or something. Sometimes I see something and I'm like, oh,
and then I respond like this.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh shit, does she think that she has to be working? Like I don't want her to think she has to be working, So, so I wish there was a way that if you saw something that you could make it sort of go live, like you can with a website at a certain time or a certain day.
Yeah.
Just because,
If you don't do it at 1 in the morning, then like what are the chances when you wake up at like 6:30 you're actually gonna remember
to go find it.
Yeah.
So what I typically end up doing is I screenshot it on my phone and try to remember to like go back and ask, client A, like about this thing I saw go by and if it's something I should be caring about, So, but I guess, some people just get emails from me at late at night, and probably think I work all the time. But mostly it's just that I'm looking at the network and I'm like, oh, I should share this or I should pass this along to somebody. But yeah, I wish there was some feature like on your website where you could write a blog post and you could set it to go online in the future. I wish you could schedule stuff to go online in the future on social networks or messages to send in the future.
And that's my phone would tell me like, no, don't. Like I wish I had that like filter at 2 in the morning. Just because like I have trouble sleeping, so sometimes I get lonely because it's 2 in the morning, so then I message my friends who are clearly sleeping. And then I look at it the next day, I'm like, oh my god, they must think I'm a lunatic because I have 2 a.m. brain. And I'm like,
that's when you need to make friends in other countries that are in different time zones. Mm-hmm. I love having like at least one West Coast friend because, like it's like 10:30 or something and you're like, oh man, I just feel like sitting down and like chatting with someone for like an hour. And then it's like 10 p.m. and you're like, oh, it's too late to call. Oh, my friend lives in California and it's 7 p.m. So that's more doable. So I sort of, different time zone friends are handy for these situations. But yeah, I wish you could schedule stuff in social media that wasn't marketing materials. That was just like, I don't want to send this person a message at 2 a.m. And I also wish, what's the other thing I wish in social media? Oh, I also wish that I feel like it's like black or white. You're either friends with someone or you're not friends with someone. I wish I could make some sort of priority, and I get that with Facebook notifications, it's supposed to do that, but I wish I could almost make a folder and be like, I really care about these 25 people, and put their updates in this other place. I get that you can sort of do that, but it ends up being, I wish there was a way to do it, like on Twitter, for example, you can make lists, right? And so you can go through your followers and you can be like, okay, this is like a person that I follow related to blogging, this is a person I follow related to social media, and you can sort of separate it out, but it just ends up being a lot of bookkeeping. I don't know, maybe there's some easy way to do it, and I'm not sure if there's some social networking person out there who's thinking about that, but I think we're all really overwhelmed with information and we feel like we're missing stuff. So what, as companies, we're told to do and what we end up doing is putting more information out there. But I feel like it's just creating more of a problem. I feel like instead of people could like be like, you know what, I'm really into this lobster shack. I want to get updates from them. Like, not that it was this weird thing that I had to like go to their page and click notifications and add them to an interest list. And, the average person does not understand it. I just wish it was a little bit more built in, but I could do that. Like, so when I pulled up Instagram, it's like, great, I follow a bunch of fashion bloggers in Australia. You know what, sometimes I don't want to look at clothes right now. I don't want to unfollow these people, but like, I just want to get to like my real life friends and just see what they're posting. Because I have 5 minutes.
An example of like it's just like real time.
That's
right.
What you see. Well, that's why Derek is on it all the time. Is he's like, oh, I gotta check my Instagram. I gotta stay on top of it. So it turns into this thing that he's checking like 3 or 4 times a day and like leaving comments, whatever. And that's why he has like 1,000 followers. And we don't have 1,000 followers, but it's like just yeah, exactly. It's like
I broke 100. Stoked, and then I was like, that's a lot. It's really like an Instagram land, not so much.
That's okay. If you just start posting pictures of yourself, like even thinking about wearing a bathing suit, like that would go way up. I love the internet.
Been thinking about like, gonna do a little thought bubble.
Yeah. So to those of you who don't read our comments, we've got one comment asking us to take our panties off. That is the one comment we've gotten on these YouTube series that we've been doing for the better part of 6 months. So if you could leave a comment now about our underwear, we'd love that. But anyway, so yeah, I wish there was a way that we could make lists a little bit more intuitive and a little bit more mainstream. Like something that it was a feature that they were like, hey. Versus like you have to go and be like, oh, what's an interest list? Like, oh, what's who the heck uses those? Like, who has time to spend 3 hours setting up? Like, well, I mean, I guess you do because it would save you 3 hours, but maybe there's a service out there. Hey, here's an idea. And if you're out there doing this, please let us know. Maybe there's a service that'll be like, hey, hand us over your 2,000 Twitter followers. We will put them into organized lists related to subject. I would pay someone to do that. Absolutely. Or I would pay for a way to have my 25 favorite-ish people. I'm not saying there's only 25 favorite people. I'm just saying some set number of favorite people's stuff coming in to this one special section on Facebook. Where I would, if I had 5 minutes, I could check it versus knowing I have to spend 20 minutes going through the whole thing. Although I guess that's their end game, right? They want you to stay on the site longer. They don't want you to be able to check.
Probably.
But the other thing though is if you give someone an option to do something for 2 minutes at a time, they're gonna go do it more often. So like you're sort of rewarding this like constant checking behavior by giving them something that they can check easily. Mm-hmm. But anyway, just my opinion. Those are the 2 things I like in social networks that don't exist, but I think whoever has developed these has been pretty thoughtful. And I think, yeah, and I think the social media sites that are adding new features or whatever, I think they're trying to understand how their users are using the network and introducing things related to that. Agreed. Good topic, Cass. Cassie comes up with the best topics. I have literally nothing else to say about this.
I don't either.
All right, so guess what? We're done.
If you want to leave us a comment that's actually related to Tech Thursday, that'd be awesome. You can leave it on this video. You can go to our website.
Basically look low, and there should be some kind of commenting box. I was gesturing to below where this website will be.
You're just low in boxes.
Low in boxes. Oh, there. That's for you, Chorky the best.
Good on you.
Good on you.
I was just channeling my inner Brit.
You do have a Kate Middleton vibe today. I mean that in the best way, not like the other way.
That's the hugest compliment I think I've ever.
No, like it's very like.
It might be the way I like what I'm doing with my hands.
No, I think it's just the look.
This is what she looks like after giving birth. Like,
yeah.
Oh,
I know. God, this poor lady. But we'll see you next week. If you have a topic idea, let us know. Thanks for watching. Bye. We should make strong coffee more often.
I know.